An update on that deadly attack on a Filipino community at a street festival.
Constable Howard Chow. Once Interim Chief is done providing his update, we will take a few questions from members of the media.
Morning. On behalf of everyone at the Vancouver Police Department, I want to extend my sincere condolences to the victims, their families, and loved ones, and to everyone who has been impacted by this senseless, heartbreaking act of violence. This is the darkest day in our city's history. Last night, as thousands of members of Vancouver's Filipino community gathered for an important cultural celebration, the actions of a single person shattered our collective sense of safety. It is impossible to overstate how many lives have been impacted forever by this lone individual. There are many unanswered questions about why this horrific crime happened, the motive of the person who did it, and whether anything could have been done to prevent it. There are many things we still don't know, but we are working hard to get all of the answers. Here's what I'm able to share with you this morning. Shortly after 8 last night, Saturday, April 26th, a man driving a black Audi SUV drove into a large crowd of people at the Lapu Lapu Street Festival in South Vancouver. This festival, which is a celebration of Filipino community and culture, had been taking place all day in and around the grounds of a school located at 41st and Fraser Street. It was expected that tens of thousands of people would attend throughout the day. Although it was scheduled to wrap up at 8 p.m., there were still many people in the area when the incident occurred. The vehicle that struck festival goers approached the festival area from the west on East 43rd Avenue. It entered a small crowd enclosed area and drove through the crowd. There were hundreds of festival goers still on the street, and multiple people were struck by the vehicle. There are now 11 confirmed fatalities. We believe dozens more are injured, some seriously, and the number of dead could rise in the coming days or weeks. The most critically injured were transported by ambulance to 9 different hospitals throughout Metro Vancouver, and we want to extend our profound gratitude to all of the medical professionals who have worked throughout the night to care for the victims. The driver of the vehicle was the lone occupant, and he was arrested at the crime scene by members of the Vancouver Police Department after bystanders and witnesses intervened to detain him. He remains in custody. While I'm not prepared to speak about the potential motive, I can now say with confidence that the evidence in this case does not lead us to believe this was an act of terrorism. I can also tell you that the person we have in custody does have a significant history of interactions with police and healthcare professionals related to mental health. I am unable to publicly identify the person who is in custody because charges have not yet been laid. Homicide investigators are currently presenting evidence to Crown Counsel, which is the independent authority in British Columbia to lay criminal charges. We will provide additional information once the charge approval process is complete. More than 100 Vancouver police officers are currently working on this case. They have been providing comfort to the injured, interviewing eyewitnesses, and collecting key pieces of evidence from throughout the crime scene. We will continue to dedicate every available resource at our disposal to complete this investigation and to support the community as it grieves. It is hard to make sense of something so senseless, and I know there are questions about whether this tragedy could have been prevented. The Vancouver Police Department worked with the City of Vancouver to conduct a risk assessment prior to the Lapu Lapu Festival. The majority of activities associated with the festival were taking place on the grounds of a high school, which is not directly accessible via public roadway. The only public roadway that required partial closure was on a minor street behind the high school. And this area was designated for food trucks. And there were no known threats to the event or to the Filipino community. We review over 3,200 events every year and assess the risks with city partners. This event was no exception. We determined through consultations with the City of Vancouver and festival organizers that dedicated police officers and heavy vehicle barricades would not be deployed at the festival site. While I'm confident the joint risk assessment and public safety plan was sound, we will be working with our partners at the City of Vancouver to review all of the circumstances surrounding the planning of this event. Today, our focus must be on the victims and their families, the community, and our city, and the ongoing criminal investigation. In closing, I want to thank all of the emergency responders, including BC Ambulance Service, Vancouver Fire Rescue, all of the healthcare professionals throughout the region, our external policing partners and the RCMP, and BC Coroner Service. I want to offer my condolences to everyone impacted by these tragic circumstances. We are grieving with you. We're with you. A 24-hour assistance center has been established at the Douglas Park Community Center at 801 West 22nd Avenue in Vancouver. Police officers and victim service professionals have been deployed to help anyone and all who have been impacted, and we offer that you contact a loved one who is at the festival if they need assistance. If you're not able to attend in person, please call 604-717-3321 and Victim Liaison Officer. I want to acknowledge everyone in the Vancouver Police Department who serve our community. Thank you, and I'll now take some questions.
Is the suspect speaking to police? Are your officers able to have a conversation with them?
We have, police have spoken with the individual. Yes.
Is he currently in a secure hospital ward, or is he actually in cells?
He's in our custody with us in a secure cell.
What do we know about him? Is he a Vancouver resident? Can you share anything about his nationality? Is he from here? Is his family from here? Have you been in contact with his family? What can you tell us about that?
We would have been in contact with the family. He is, like I said, we have had interactions with him. So he's known to us. And I have to be respectful of the criminal prosecution process coming forward. So I'm comfortable telling you that we're familiar with him. He's in custody. And obviously his family, we would have been in touch with them.
I know you can't really elaborate. Just asking one more time if you can tell us that most of the interactions were due to mental illness, mental health calls, or criminal issues, convictions.
I'm going to stick to the prepared statement. We've had a substantive contact with them over mental health issues.
Why is it that, I can understand that you did a safety assessment, but if you're still expecting tens of thousands of people, there's still some exposure on a minor street, why wasn't there more of a presence and more of a proactive way to kind of prevent something like this from happening, considering we have seen it in other cities?
So we do about 1,000 protests and over 2,200 events, public events. All of those events, every single one goes through a process with all of the stakeholders, the organizers, the City of Vancouver, and then over to us. So jointly, we assess that. This particular event did not have any indicators that we would need to do anything that we would have done for any other community festival. Now, there's this festival last year, this is the second year of this festival, had absolutely zero issues with police. There was no elements that required a change for this year. We're mindful of, you know, the community's, you know, how they want to conduct the festival. It's a family, children event, and none of the indicators were there to do anything to a higher threat level.
Can you tell us about the victims, their ages, their genders, whether their families have been notified?
So what I can tell you, mixed genders, male, female, and young people. I can't get into ages and that, but it's just a tragedy all around for many families.
We heard reports of an infant, a baby among the dead. Can you confirm that?
They were young people.
Were there any barriers?
We're reviewing that. So like I said, the actual event was occurring in a closed area of that high school. And there was no access to vehicles for the main part of it, of the area. The area where the tragedy occurred was lined with food trucks, and that's what that street was meant for. And there was, you know, there were no barriers denying people access to those food trucks.
I know you said terrorism is not expected. Was this event targeted? Do you know why it was this event that this person drove a vehicle into?
So for terrorism, there should be some political, religious ideation behind it. There's no indicators that this individual had that. And obviously the history we have with him leans towards that there wasn't any other indicators.
Does he live around the area?
It's fair to say he's a Vancouver resident.
Can you say where the rampage began, where he began driving? There were other incidents on the way to the incident?
I'm not aware of any other incidents on the way to this particular impact area. My information, he was traveling eastbound on 43rd when he approached the area.
We'll take some questions from people that haven't answered yet.
Who owned the vehicle?
The vehicle was owned by, and I can't, it was owned by somebody associated to that family.
You said you're confident that the risk assessment prior to was sound,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, how is this going to change things now moving forward? Because I think everyone, the sun run is happening outside
Right.
now. There are thousands of people on the street, and I think that's going to be a concern.
So just on the Sun Run, we did assess it last night with City of Vancouver. It was their call to continue the Sun Run. We are 100% able to staff it safely. It is safely staffed, and proper resourcing and proper threat assessment was done for the Sun Run. Of course, going forward, it goes without saying this will change the landscape for deployment for police going forward. You know, we're a community, we're a city, you know, we're a city of great neighborhoods and people from all over the world. And, you know, like I said, 3,200 events total, and the system has worked up to this point. And of course, this will be a watershed moment for everyone involved at the city, police department, ambulance, all the stakeholders going forward on operational changes.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to end it here. Thank you.
Would you classify this as the worst mass casualty event in recent history in the city?
I would say at the beginning, I said it's the darkest day in Vancouver's history, and stand by that.
And sorry, one more question. You said 11 fatalities, unfortunately. You said dozens injured. Can you give us an update on how many are critical at this point?
I can't be inappropriate. I can't, but we're supporting everyone.
So we're going to end it here, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. So we're going to have more updates to provide later today. You will be made aware of when that will be happening. It's my understanding that the City of Vancouver will be providing an update as well. You will get a notification for when that will happen. They are taking care of that. And from our end, we will provide more updates as the day unfolds. Okay, thank you very much for coming.
All right, so you just heard there the conclusion of the update provided by police and investigators down there in Vancouver. On your screen, you were also taking a look at some of this footage that we had. This happened late Saturday night, so just last night, over at a Filipino community festival. The big breaking news from this latest update was the fact that now 11 people have been confirmed to have been killed after a suspect rammed their car through that festival. Suspect's identity was not released because formal charges have yet to be laid out. The driver was arrested at the scene after he was detained by bystanders. And as you heard, we are going to get another update later on today, possibly from police and also from the city of Vancouver.